Time for some more challenge log. We've got Northwegian, challenge log number 4, Underset. It's got a little face there, it comes with a key. Made in 2020. So, I'm just going to mount that up. Nice and firmly, so it doesn't slip on us. Got a tensioner that fits. Oh, got quite a lot of slop to begin with. Let's see if we can get this thing open. Alright, the whole thing is flexing too much. I'm going to take those off. I'm going to mount it in the jaws a bit more firmly. Metal on metal. That's better. Alright, oops, feels like some serrations there. Alright, into a default set. Can I rotate here? Click. And rotate out of 1. Click. Two. Yep, we got it. Open. Just needed a little nudge there at the end. Alright. So this is a push down the pin and rotate kind of a job. Come on. Alright. This back tail piece off. Turned it completely upside down, which wasn't super clever. That is annoying, but solvable. Just take a pick and we can probably just, there we go, get that unstuck. Shim in there. That, so we're not going to drop all of our pins. That's not going to fit properly. Where's that smaller Sparrows one? Sparrows one, it's the teeniest, tiniest bit smaller in diameter. So there we go. That's better. Shim didn't go in properly. Oh well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Okay. And 5. So there's our core. We've got this like countersunk. That always makes them a little bit easier. That's to sort of intentionally reduce tolerances on the lock. That's obviously a thing the lock would have come with already, not an intentional done. So it looks like we came out with that way up. Looks like that must have been combined below shear, so there's probably a spring in here then. we never touched that pin at all. So 1 serrated. Spring. 2 is like a spooled T-pin. Spring. 3, we've got a nice spool lip there. One spring. Oh, that's right. Can't really go from both ends in this follow-up. Oh, we'll just struggle through. Try not to lose everything. So, yep, there is in fact nothing in 4. Just the spring. So 4 acted as a 0 lift, which is not intended. That driver should have been a bit longer, if you don't want that to happen. And a serrated pin at the end. All the same springs. So, here's our pins, which are quite nice. There's a nice T-pin here, some nice deep spool action. It's a nice spool, gave good feedback. This nice serrated pin. The end, all pretty reasonable. But I'll show you, just in case you don't really understand how that worked. If we take these pins and we go to pin 1, you can see that sits just a little bit. This driver pin here, it sits proud quite a bit. No worries. Good. That's what it should do. But here on this one, number 4, you can see that's quite deep in there. And then when I take this key pin on top, the whole thing fits flush and can turn. So that actually doesn't do anything, which means the spring will then ride around that plug and potentially get caught up on that, which in fact, looking at how the end of that spring got a tiny bit damaged, is exactly what happened. Maybe not with me, but damage might have been from someone else, but that's pretty clear that that's what's happened there. So if that driver pin really needed to be manufactured just, a couple of millimeters longer, and then this wouldn't have happened. Lots of lock manufacturers do this, or leave this sort of mistake in there. That's why sometimes really cheap locks can be quite difficult. Sometimes even the driver pin will be, like the combined stack will be under and the spring will be sitting in the chamber. So don't do that, especially on challenge lock, where you're theoretically taking the time to craft it together properly. You don't want your springs getting mangled. So just always take the time to stick them in, all your key pins in the plug like that, and just see how they're going to sit. And you should be testing each driver pin, sticking it in there and going, oh yes, so that means that'll have 2 serrations on this one will come into play. Like, it helps you design it. It helps you prevent this with pin 4 happening, and just generally understanding what you've built and how it's going to interact. Like, you've got this really deep spool here, and you can see that, yes, that will in fact come into play. And like in here, it would be really deep if you were to put it in that position instead. But of course we had that T-pin there instead, which also worked. So, it's a good idea to do that. Anyway, that was, should look at this key as well. Underset by Northwegian. If we slide off this heat shrink, there we go. That was our key, which is, what's that? Respect to the keyhole. And what does it say on the other side? Do not stick your pick in it, or don't stick a pick in it. Respect the keyhole, or don't stick a pick in it. Fair enough. So there we go. A nice lock, generally, but with that small design flaw of pin 4.